chat, I might have forgotten to go live on YouTube. My bad. And then it says it's unstable on Twitch. What the fuck? Literally live. Are we good? Alright, we're good. Lives always have to be so weird. Guys, who's ready for this premiere, bro? I've been waiting over a year for this video. Come on now. I know it doesn't start for another, it was like 12 minutes, but figured we could just chill here, talk about any expectations for it. Also gonna maybe talk about what kind of stuff I have planned for, I don't know, like kind of the rest of the month. I don't know about the whole month, but I definitely want to get one of those things I have planned out done before the end of the month. Okay, the Botrix mod joined finally. Dude, I'm so excited for this. It's been, actually no wait. How long has it been? Let me go to YouTube. The second one came out when? December of 2022. Oh yeah, also for anyone that's here, is my mic working? Can we get a check on that? Because I was having some issues earlier. I don't want my mic to just be... Wait, actually, let me check that. I can check by... Here. 1 second. I swear to God, if my mic's not working, I'm gonna crash out. Boop, boom. Please be working. I spent all day figuring this stuff out. Hold on a second. Okay, you can hear me. Thank God my mic's working. Holy, I thought we were gonna have some issues. Yeah, I'm gonna lower the music a bit. I didn't want to just be sitting here in silence, so. Anyone on Twitch, are we good on there as well? Because I don't know if I can check there as usually. I don't know why I wouldn't be muted on YouTube and muted on Twitch. So I should be fine, but who knows? I'm assuming this one here is the bot, so nobody's here yet, but it's all good. See how the streams are doing. We're doing pretty good. Or at least like quality wise. I'm average stream bitrate too high. We could lower that. Will that affect this? Like, can I change that while I'm live? Put it back to like this. I hope that fixes it, but we'll have to see. Let me reload this. Okay, there we go. We're better. Yeah, that's what it was. I had the bitrate way too high. I don't know why, but that was way higher than it should have been. My bad. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I want to read this, Charlie. You know what? I'm gonna do this anyway. I don't know if anyone's here, but I'm gonna just do what I was going to do while we wait. I'm gonna show off what I want to do for the rest of the month. So, depending how well this stream does, either this weekend, so like today or tomorrow or next week, I'm going to play Fnaf 2 on stream, just like I did a while ago. Try to get it done. I'm surprised we got it done in one stream last time, but I'm gonna try to do that. What else? What was I gonna say? Oh, and I'm gonna dip my toes into the theory crafting with a pretty big one. Oh, my face cam's blocking it, but I have a reason for that. Just trust. Just trust. Yeah, I'm so excited for this. I mean, it's coming up on 2 years since the second one was released. You know how insane that is? 2 years. The Fazgoo in your heart. What are we even talking about? Who's that? I can't read the name. Babe, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate it. What are we at? 8 followers now? I think it was 8. I don't remember. But I appreciate that. Actually, babe, if you're in the chat, can you tell me if my mic's working there? I haven't checked. I know it's working fine on YouTube, but I have no idea how it's going on Twitch. I don't really know how to check that. Actually, no, there might be a way to check it. Hold on. Oh, I gotta make it quick. It's gonna start in 5 minutes. Give me seconds. Actually, no, there might be a way to check it. Oh, I gotta make it quick. It's gonna start in 5 minutes. Give me seconds. Here, hold on. I think it's working. It's hard to tell. We should be fine if I've done everything correctly, which odds are I didn't, but you know. We're here to just watch something that everyone's been waiting 2 years for. As long as it doesn't take another 2 years. Oh yeah, also, we need 2 more followers and then we reach our goal of 10. Which is pretty insane. Actually, you know, I kind of want to fix it so that I can actually see the name. Because I thought that I couldn't see her name for a second. I think that should be good. I'm not sure. Just hope it is. 4 minutes. Yo, why was Security Breach's music such a bop, bro? Security Breach had such good music. I just got out of class earlier today, so I'm super tired, but you guys voted on a live stream, so actually I want to, can I bring up the polls. Let me do it on a different tab so I don't keep moving away from this. Give me a second, chat. See, look. You guys voted for this. I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised you did, because given how my last reaction went, in my defense, I didn't know what I was doing at the time, and I've since taken that video down because, let's be honest, nobody could hear what the hell I was saying. You know, shit happens. Two minutes, come on. Oh, actually, here, real quick. Predictions for what I expect in this video. I am the second coming of MatPat, so resident lore expert. If this video is, what is it? It's Help Wanted, AR, and Fazbear Frights. I think it's going to be, like, it's going to be a story of how Michael is trying to reconstruct the company. Makes Help Wanted, then he gets possessed, goes into AR, and it starts all the Fazbear Fight stuff. Or the Fazbear Fight stuff might be like mixed in. Yo, it's finally, yeah, Noobster. 2 years. I just checked. The part 2, yeah, the part 2 of this. December of 2022. December of 2022. We've been waiting almost 2 years for this. But I know it's going to be worth it. I mean, if you saw the little teaser he posted, this is going to be amazing. Also 60 seconds. Let's fucking go. I'm actually so excited. I'm going to try to not pause too much, but if there's something I really want to talk about, I'll pause. So if you want to just watch the video, you can, the premiere's happening right now. Go ahead and just watch it on your own. Because I will be kind of stopping just to talk about it real quick. Again, I'm going to try my best not to, but it's typically what I do when I watch YouTube videos anyway, so. But I appreciate you being here, Noobster. Sorry. Just want to make sure chat's working. Oh shit, the premiere's beginning. Do I stop the music? I'll wait because I know it's gonna do the little timer thing. Unless it's an instant premiere, I don't know. I'm so excited. Also, is this a good place for my face cam? I might move it up here. Yeah, I might move it up there just for this. We'll see. Also, it's going to be a much shorter stream than the other two I've done because, I mean, I think this video should be like half an hour. And assuming I maybe stop a couple times, I don't know, it should take like 45 minutes to get into. But, yeah, it'll be a short stream. But if you were here earlier, like I said, I'm thinking about going live either tomorrow or next Saturday. Actually, no, it can't be. Oh, shit. Okay, no, it's one of these. Let me lower this. How's the volume on YouTube, by the way? Oh, on Twitch. I've been struggling to find the good volume for it. We're just gonna leave it on this and hope it's good. This is an interesting counter. I've never seen these before.
Long time no see.
No kidding.
Are you ready to continue? What are you doing? Some light reading. Don't spoil yourself. Allow me to do the hard work for you and continue the most undeniably canon Fnaf timeline you'll ever hear.
What does this say? 1985.
William Afton, after a long day's work and a 5-minute murder spree, decided to head back out to the dining area of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and stand around like nothing happened. However, the entire restaurant was in a panic, as one of the customers caught sight of Henry doing that blank stare thing again. William decided this was the perfect time to finally confront Henry about the $5 he was owed, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw a suspicious boy jump out.
Oh, into the pit.
William had seen this kid before, socializing with some regulars in recent weeks. He wasn't typically one to speculate what the patrons were up to, but he strongly felt something was up with this boy in particular, so he decided to traumatize him for kicks and giggles. William lured the child to the safe room and graced him with the sight of all the freshly stuffed missing children.
Oh.
The kid, reasonably horrified at this, made a mad dash back to the ball pit as William chased after him. Once he dove back in, though, William decided it wasn't worth the trouble of going any further. That ball pit was not pleasant, so William was just about ready to forfeit the chase, until the ball pit lit up. William realized there was something much more mysterious about this than meets the eye, so he decided to come back to it after making some preparations.
So
the next morning...
So he's saying that normal William Afton is into the pit Bonnie. Also, let me put this in full screen. He's saying that Pit Bonnie is normal William Afton.
He got dressed for a potential vacation destination, staged a photo shoot to let Henry have a vague idea of where he was, and...
That's when... Oh, what was that part in part 2? That's when I think Fnaf 2 closed. Fnaf 2 closed, and William went on vacation, but he faked
the spring
it.
Bonnie suit before plunging into the pit.
Eleanor, stage rape, bro. This is so good. I'm already geeking out, bro. This is awesome.
The year is 2023. Oswald, a boy that had taken advantage of a time-traveling ball pit in a shady pizzeria named Jeff's for the past few weeks, suddenly emerged from it in a panic to be greeted by his confused and upset father. Before his dad could give him a stern talking to, though, William Afton caught him by surprise and dragged him down the depths of the dingy pit to get himself out. William was taken aback at how easily he caught up to Oswald, but figured there must have been some inexplicable time dilation that made things more convenient. With all that settled, William took Oswald out of the pizzeria, discovered what a GPS was, and took the boy home. Although he was fascinated by his surroundings, he couldn't fully take it all in. He was too focused on the bit. Once they arrived at the house, he sneakily bribed Oswald's mother to play along with this until further notice. After Oswald fell asleep, William decided he felt like snooping in his belongings for the heck of it. After sifting through pages of one of the boy's notebooks, he found drawings of the old Freddy's mascots accompanied by various attempts at characters he didn't recognize. William's curiosity of what this was supposed to look like was enough to inspire him, so he grabbed some spare junk from the garage and began working on a new animatronic to see what would happen. Overnight, William
built Eleanor.
A fully polished masterpiece. However, upon seeing he had created nothing but a conventionally attractive female character, William immediately lost interest, so he threw her in the trash before going to sleep. The next day, Oswald decided to rescue his father before it was too late. Although William tried his best to stop the boy, Oswald managed to knock him back. William, disoriented, clumsily stumbled into a net.
Oh, so how does he live this then?
Oswald and his dad safely escaped. Fortunately, poor structural integrity came to the suffocating William's rescue. The ball pit's net snapped, launched William down and out the ball pit, and he skyrocketed back into the Freddy's parking lot in 1985 as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, in 2023, local entrepreneur Michael Afton finally organized all of his plans for the revival of Fazbear Entertainment. It wasn't quite at the point he was hoping for, though, thanks to Hurricane City Council catching that all of his documents showing their approval for different projects had forged signatures. Normally, they'd let this kind of thing slide, but they all had unanimous beef with Freddy's, and seemingly had a means to shut Michael's...
Wait, what did that say under Mangle? Demon Fox, try to kill me, but I'm built different.
Beef with Freddy's, and seemingly had a means to shut Michael's plans down. Upon the discovery of training tapes at the wreckage of its most recent disaster, it was made apparent that the company was meant to be finished off for good. Knowing his good looks couldn't get him out of this one, Michael thought of a more practical solution to this problem. So, he quickly tampered with the tapes while nobody was looking.
Pardon me, but if you wouldn't mind re-watching this tape, I do believe you'll find yourselves to be mistaken about the state of the company.
There is need for you to return to work next week, as Fazbear Entertainment is a corporate entity.
The city council's hands were tied by this industry.
How does that happen from smashing it with a hammer?
Allowed Michael to continue his business ventures, as long as he didn't immediately build a giant building over half the town. So, with that, Michael decided...
Wait, I want to read that. I'm sorry, I'm going to read this. I don't care. City of Hurricane, or was it? Request for Fazbear Entertainment Business Ventures. City of Hurricane Council has granted permission for applicant Michael Afton to open a new business under formerly defunct company Fazbear Entertainment. We don't actually know how business approval works, so we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. And returns for approval a later date. I really hate this guy. He thinks he's hot by covering himself in deodorant, and it doesn't work.
over half the town.
I love his humor.
So, with that, Michael decided to buy out Jeff's pizzeria, since it was just a crudely repurposed Freddy's location.
He just
and
killed Jeff.
Using blueprints left in the office, Mike made near-perfect recreations of the classic animatronics.
Okay.
Everything was looking up for Michael, and his efforts.
He's looking
rewarded him with
spiffy.
massive
Oh wait, this
success.
is from
Hearing
the trailer
cacophony
he
of
showed.
customers at Freddy's every day made Mike confident in the pizzeria, and now he wanted to pursue a more personal project. After scouting out local scientists, he
Mad
kidnapped
scientist.
Phineas Taggart to assist him in a new product for Fazbear Entertainment. Michael described his vision to Taggart, a marvelous substance that could violently clone and replace anyone it touched.
Oh, there's
When
the
questioned
scooper
why he
from
wanted to create such a
Security
thing,
Breach.
Michael simply brushed it off as necessary trauma, much like what he had to go through to become a successful entrepreneur.
Okay, but why do we need to make Fazgoo specifically?
It
will
built
build
character.
Taggart was somehow satisfied with this answer, and after 26.5 minutes, he had developed the first ever sample of Fazgoo. Michael was ecstatic at the sight of this creation, but he needed to be sure it worked. Before he could dismiss Taggart, though, the scientist begged him for payment. Mike did not want to give actual money to this guy, so he just tossed him a robot dog and kicked him out.
Just fetch his
Meanwhile,
laying
the
around.
rejected animatronic from William Afton's Vacation had been hauled to the dump. After a while, a stray soul discovered it and decided to call it home. This turned out to be William's ex-wife, Eleanor Schmidt, who had been kicked out of Molten Freddy during Henry Emily's final blaze of glory. The children inhabiting the animatronic mass voted that Eleanor didn't deserve to move on with them, so they quickly ejected her so she'd be stuck in this plane of existence indefinitely. After recollecting herself after
Huh. Eleanor is William Afton's wife. Okay.
all this time spent sitting in the backseat of Enter,
So she's
she
beloved.
gathered that this animatronic had no discernible characterization prior to her possession. So, having the full jurisdiction to present his any name she
Jane
pleased,
Claire Blowers.
she decided to just go by Eleanor. While adjusting to her new body, Eleanor realized that her dress had a feature she only thought was possible in her wildest dreams. It had pockets.
Wait.
needed to make you-
Was William Afton's wife named Eleanor? Hold on.
Decided to call it home. This turned out to be William's ex-wife, Eleanor Schmidt.
The amount of foreshadowing is crazy. How do you plan for that? How do you actually plan for that? There's no way he knew he was going to use that.
Masked of existent, she gathered that this animatronic
There's
had
no way.
no discernible characterization prior to her possession. So, having the full jurisdiction to present his any name she pleased, she decided to just go by Eleanor. While adjusting to her new body, Eleanor realized that her dress had a feature she only thought was possible in her wildest dreams. It had pockets. She needed to make use of these immediately, so she quickly looked around the junkyard for something worthy to put inside them. Her eyes were drawn to a pile of strange discs within the trunk of an old car, so Eleanor went ahead and grabbed them. Upon taking
There's no way. How? How is he this smart? This is the car from one of the very first shots of the first timeline. When he's like, oh, William Afton just had illusion disc in the back of his car. How does he
taking them,
know?
However, the sound waves these discs emitted granted her with cosmic power beyond her human understanding. Eleanor, realizing she could do anything she desired, immediately teleported to her old standing. Eleanor, realizing she could do anything she desired.
Okay, so she gained the sentience of Fredbear, or Ferdinand von Bernard, because that's what happened to him. And she's in Fortnite and a marketable plushie.
Immediately teleported to her old accounting firm, expecting to get right back to work. Her old boss was bewildered at the sight of her again and grimly told her she was laid off and replaced 38 years prior. She did not take her again and standing. Eleanor, realizing she could do anything
Wait.
8 years prior.
It's game theory's model for Mrs. Haft.
She did not take this news well.
Oh
Filled
my
with sudden
God.
rage, Eleanor killed her former boss and was quickly enamored by the power his agony fueled her with. She became obsessed with feeding on more of this, so she started plotting what to do next. Now holding a grudge against basically any businessman at the
Wait.
She did not take this news well. Filled with sudden rage, Eleanor killed her former boss and was quickly enamored by the power his agony fueled her with. She became obsessed with feeding on more of this, so she started plotting what to do next. Now holding a grudge against basically any businessman at this point, she targeted every major corporation she could think of and obliterated all of the people in charge of them. Now filled with triple the infinite power she had already, Eleanor was ready to claim victory as the greatest evil the world has ever known. To her surprise, though, basically everyone on Earth that was subjected to these corporations was happy about their immediate quality of life boost, and Eleanor was hailed as a benevolent revolutionary, siphoning the agony right out of her with their collective joy. Becoming the hero of the working class was not what Eleanor had in mind. Although she kind of enjoyed the respect, that didn't do anything for her newfound hunger, and she needed to cause more problems. To avoid repeating the same mistake as before, she decided to keep things local. Drawing inspiration from how her ex-husband managed to discover Remnant, she warped to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to do what William did, but better. However, as she approached the front door...
Real vintage Freddy mask, 100% authentic pizzeria animatronic. Late Brothers weird box with miscellaneous contents inside. Please don't ask. Okay. Why is there a picture of Squidward here?
Michael caught sight of her and immediately grew suspicious.
Who are you, and what are you doing here?
It's me, your mother. No hard feelings about the scooping incident, right? No matter. I'm here to massacre all of your patrons for personal satisfaction.
How predictable.
Being called out on the spot like that really got under Eleanor's skin.
That's
She would
crazy.
have murdered Michael out of spite in any other circumstance, but given she did owe him after the scooping incident, she let this personal attack slide. Eleanor needed to prove Mike wrong, though, so she decided to
The
pull off nine
Elodolls.
stunts nobody would ever think to do. After that, an
Plus
unlucky
Chef Chaser.
child just so happened to pass by Eleanor's line of sight, and Eleanor decided this kid was the perfect first victim to truly test her power. A child named Sarah was minding her own business as Eleanor followed her closely. As Sarah approached the suspiciously plot-relevant dump, Eleanor warped to the trunk she found before for the girl to notice her. Sarah was incredibly transfixed with the animatronic's beauty, and excitedly carried her home to use as a display piece or something. At night, Eleanor figured this would be the perfect time to activate and begin her plan. She promised Sarah that she could make her wildest dream come true, to be beautiful. Sarah, not understanding that she was perfectly fine the way she was, immediately agreed to this proposal. However, Eleanor told her she needed to forever wear her pendant for this to work. Over the next several days, Sarah was completely transformed. She became much more popular, much more confident in her looks, and much more paranoid that something would go wrong. And go wrong something did. With just one slip on a comically placed banana peel, Eleanor's pendant flew right off of Sarah's neck. To Sarah's terror, Eleanor was actually replacing her body with chunks of scrap metal, and the
Right.
pendant was all that kept
So this
her
is just to
hollow
be
metallic membrane
beautiful.
together. Sarah desperately ran back home to try and beg for Eleanor's help, to which the
Who this was in the trailer. I was like, who is this? That makes sense though.
for Eleanor's help, to which the animatronic welcomed her by shifting into a look-alike of the girl's original body. Had she survived, Sarah may have gleaned some sort of moral from this whole ordeal, but unfortunately she had completely fallen apart into a miserable pile of scraps. Eleanor retrieved her
Rip.
pendant, now charged with terrible agony once again. With this boost in power, she was ready to take on the entire population of Hurricane in increasingly strange and specific ways.
Sergio, or this is Lucky Boy. What's this guy's name? The clown dude? I don't even remember. I'm just gonna keep going. And Sea
Meanwhile,
Bonnies.
Phineas Taggart was on a personal hunt for random junk. This particular night led him to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place.
Wait, whoa, whoa,
Personal
whoa,
hunt for
whoa.
ran-
How is Friendly Face already existing? Isn't this Eleanor's doing? And phone dude is still in exile, but I thought that you can't see it, but this is the Friendly Face cat. How is he here?
Random junk. This particular night led him to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, now in a sinkhole, where William, Afton, and Andrew just sat around playing Uno.
This is amazing. I don't know why I like
Andrew's
this.
anger at William had settled quite a bit. All he had to do was scream into some trash, and soon enough he hadn't a clue why he was mad in the first place. Unfortunately,
He put his agony into the Simon doll, and that's how Stage Wraith is going to be
the
more.
trespassing Taggart wound up interrupting their game and slammed his robot dog onto Andrew's spirit, tethering his remnant to the toy's battery. William looked up at the man in mild distress. To avoid being tackled, tased, or anything else, he hastily got up and followed the man wherever he was going. On that note, Taggart arrived at his lab.
Wait,
He
hold
hastily
on.
got William
What?
looked up at the man in mild distress. To avoid being tackled, tased, or anything else, he
Nice
hastily got
callback.
up and followed the man wherever he was going. On that note, Taggart arrived at his lab with his new trinkets, an Andrew-infested fetch, and William Afton. Taggart didn't initially plan on anything special for the junk he was collecting, but finding a stray soul in an animatronic zombie truly motivated him to try and do something spectacular with it all. To his amusement, said zombie was absolutely hideous, and Taggart just had to make William's unsightliness known to him.
Oh, please. I couldn't look that bad.
Terrified of the sight of his suit being horrendously burnt and broken, William accidentally death stared his reflection and he exploded. Taggart, delighted by the sudden haunted gunk treasures, reflection and he exploded.
He killed himself with the death stare. That's how William Afton dies? No way.
Taggart, delighted by the sudden haunted gunk all over his treasures, decided to take advantage of this and mash them all together into a new creation. This new animatronic not only merged the souls of William and Andrew into one body, it also introduced a third spirit into the mix. This was a child named Jake, whose death shockingly had nothing to do with Afton or Freddy's. With his good temperament compared to the other two, he got to pilot the animatronic, while William and Andrew were stuck being backseat drivers.
That's
Taggart
crazy.
was delighted at his living Stitch Wraith, but his joy was short-lived as William convinced Jake to slap the mad scientist. As it turned out, joy was short-lived as William convinced Jake to slap
Just like that, Taggart's dead.
the mad scientist. As it turned out, Afton's presence within the animatronic killed Phineas Taggart on the spot. Jake was absolutely horrified about this, but Andrew wasn't particularly bothered about it. After surveying the damage, they deduced that they should just wait for someone else to handle it. So, they sat there and waited until a garbage collector found them. Sure enough, though, the mere touch of the Stitch Wraith was all it took to kill this guy, too.
Damn.
Immediately, Jake realized who was responsible for this. William had already been giving off bad vibes, but now he looked blatantly proud of himself. When Jake tried to explain this, though, Andrew came to William's defense.
What's so bad about him? He cheated at Uno once.
He literally killed 2 people just now!
Lies and slander.
No, I did do that. As a matter of fact, I killed you too.
I think I'd remember being murdered.
Jake needed to solve this.
I love this so
fast.
much.
After some internal bickering, he learned about Andrew screaming into stuff to release his rage. With that information, Jake reasoned that putting those pieces back together could potentially refresh Andrew's memory. He'd remember why William was a problem, and they could finally get rid of the purple parasite. After a few
Okay.
weeks of running around on a garbage hunt, and with only
Wait.
a few purple parasite. After a few weeks of running around on a garbage hunt,
Okay, so this is when the plush trap chaser got ran over by the train. This is the Ella doll, and then this is the Foxy thing with Michael, and it has a someone shooting in the head. I guess.
and with only a few extra casualties,
Luigi
the
died,
Stitch
Canon.
Wraith headed to an abandoned factory to use its trash compactor on its collection. Suddenly, intruding on the scene was Detective Everett Larson, who had been tracking down the Stitch Wraith this entire time to try and cope with its divorce or something. As Larson prepared to shoot it down, Jake suddenly caught notice of him and backflipped into the trash compactor in an act of defiance. As the Stitch Wraith crumpled together with all the junk, Andrew finally remembered what he was so angry at William Afton about. He was just about ready to throw hands with his killer once more, but he quickly gathered he may have been out of his league. After the Stitch Wraith flipped into the trash heap, William's soul transferred to the garbage and began forging it all together into a new body. After causing a chain reaction with the old machinery, William blew up the factory and used its debris to his advantage, growing into a 15-foot-tall monstrosity. So, making the decision to cut his losses, Andrew quietly made a run for it while he still could. Larson, shocked at how dramatically the situation escalated, spent this valuable time throwing insults at the giant trash rabbit. William wasn't fazed by this, though, and simply proclaimed,
You know what I think the best part about this is that this is not made up. This is literally what happens in the State Trace Stingers.
Did somebody say agony?
Eleanor was there too, apparently. After learning of the Afton Amalgamation's existence, she quickly launched herself into it to try and absorb its power. This caused Afton to become far more violent, and Larson was nearly killed by the amalgamation. Before it could finish him off, though, he began hearing a voice coming from his bag. It was the mask of the puppet, or at least his delirious mind figured it must have been. Nonetheless, he tossed it at Afton's shins, and the impact caused him to fall apart like a house of cards. As Afton
Lego.
sank into the lake near the wreckage, he noticed Eleanor escaping his collapsing body, and he recognized her instantly. Not only was she his abandoned creation from his time travel vacation,
It was his
he
wife.
felt the spite emanating from her, and knew it could be only one person. The woman who he once probably loved, then definitely hated, had managed to become far more than he ever was. And so, he looked at her in bittersweet longing before everything faded to black. William Afton was dead. Now that the amalgamation was destroyed.
There we go. That is the official end of William Afton in the story.
One person. The woman who he once probably loved, then definitely
Probably. Like, you know, maybe I liked her. I don't know.
hated, had managed to become far more than he ever was. And so, he looked at her in bittersweet longing before everything.
I think that's how it should be, by the way. I think this is a good place to kill William Afton, right? If this is... Okay, let's... All jokes aside, all bit aside. Let's say everything he's saying in this timeline is true. I think that makes so good a sense. I think William should have died after 6. But then you can have him being tortured and... this was the perfect ending for him. So then when you continue everything else after and just say it was the Mimic, I think is the best way about going about it instead of just like reusing the same old villain.
Faded to black. William Afton was dead. Now that the amalgamation was destroyed, the Stitch Wraith ran to Larson's aid. Jake was all on his own now, and he wasn't going to let anyone else die. So he whacked the detective with his battery, and that got rid of the lingering agony left behind by Afton. Now that Larson was a little less half-dead than before, he immediately tried to fight Eleanor. She wasn't impressed by his endeavor, and she dragged him into a highlight reel inside her mind.
Your investigations, your hunt for the Stitch Wraith, your failed marriage.
Ooh.
Who do you think?
Wait. Papers for divorcing Mr. Everett Larson for being a bum of a husband and always wanting to catch a stinky robot in a trench coat instead of spending time with his wife, now ex-wife. Effective immediately. Everett Larson will receive his trench coat. That's it.
Behind it all.
Bad luck, I guess.
Oh, I thought I was being more obvious. Sorry. Anyway, it was me all along.
What?
You didn't know it, Larson, but I was always there.
You better do it, Foxy. Well, she was the one driving the train. She made the Stitch Wraith. Whoa, wait, hold on. Oh, she used the body parts from the one girl and used them, and that's why the plush trap had human eyes and teeth. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Oof Troop's a genius. I'm not gonna lie. That's like, I don't know. This was so worth the 2 years.
Larson, horrified by the truth revealed to him by this master of disguise, immediately shot Eleanor 4 times in a row. This master of disguise immediately shot Eleanor.
That is what, from the visual novel? It's from the graphic novel, right?
4 times
That's from the cover of this book.
in a row.
And this is from... He had to have just made this. This is from the Into the Pit game.
This managed to disorient her enough to warp to another memory, where Larson then grabbed a baseball bat and bashed her head off. This went on in a loop for a while, weakening Eleanor but also not accomplishing too much otherwise.
That's
From an
crazy.
outsider's
Whoa, wait.
weakening Eleanor but also not accomplishing too much
These are all parts of...
otherwise.
These are all parts of the other ones. Look, this is the court case where she lost the kids.
From an outsider's perspective, Larson and Eleanor just stayed in one place silently. The Stitch Wraith was bored of waiting, so Jake decided to see what would happen if he tried to interact with Eleanor without Afton infecting his touch. This allowed the Stitch Wraith to peer into her memories. While Larson and Eleanor were still having their grand battle, Jake discovered Eleanor's worst memory.
I heard Billy D. Williams was in this one.
Wait. Look at the crying child. Or
Without actually
Dave.
infecting his touch.
I am a Dave
This
believer,
allowed
by the way.
Stitch Wraith to peer into her memories, while Larson and Eleanor were still having their grand.
The kid that's
They
stricken from the
discovered
record.
Eleanor's
Look
worst
at
memory.
look at
I
him.
heard Billy D. Williams was in this one. Oops. Spoiler.
Confused by what the problem here was, but nonetheless undeterred, the Stitch Wraith grabbed Eleanor and launched her into the memory to be stuck forever. Now that Jake had saved the planet from Eleanor's wrath, he felt fulfilled in his purpose. With that, he moved on from this world, and the Stitch Wraith was no more. Larson,
Just like
now
that.
sitting alone in the wreckage of a factory with two
Look at his
licensed animatronics
face.
in front of him, deliberated what to do now. He knew this was going to cause a big stink for the police department if he didn't have a believable explanation on hand. So he just tossed Eleanor and the Stitch Wraith's bodies into the ball pit at Freddy's and blamed their hijinks on Fazbear Entertainment.
Because of course.
Michael Afton, now facing immense backlash for reviving the company, had to figure out a way to save its reputation before it collapsed all over
The
again.
VR
He
game.
checked his plans for anything that could help him, and to his relief, there was a perfect solution. All Mike had to do was cover up these allegations by touting them as fictional events from a video game series. After interrogating his board of directors to see if any of them knew how to make a game, one of them spoke up and said they knew of someone that could.
Fritz
This
Smith.
led Michael to a failed indie developer with a desolate hope for success, Steve Snodgrass. Steve's only claim to fame was a critically panned promotional title for L Chips, but Mike could feel the potential oozing from this creator. Steve just needed a spark, and Michael gave him lightning. Steve, ecstatic at the opportunity to make appropriate use of his uncanny modeling style, quickly whipped up a game called Five Nights at Freddy's. It was pretty simple.
Wait.
Michael
My idea is, what if the purple guy had multiple different sprites that confuse people for no reason? Bonnie has magical powers and can float. Golden Freddy is a time traveler. Find the clocks. Ultimate Cupcake Night.
thought it was a perfect starting point. After Steve posted this game under the guise
Reviews, I don't know yet.
that it was totally unauthorized, it immediately skyrocketed in popularity. People were playing it left and right, and most importantly,
Markiplier.
those curious about the game's hidden lore started to confuse historical facts.
This is amazing. I love this so much. The fucking Notepad spray.
Act from modern fiction. Michael needed Steve to make a sequel, fast. Steve then churned out 2 more in only a couple days to resounding success. Mike realized quickly, though, that these games weren't actually helping with the current controversy the company was facing. Whatever skeletons were once in Henry's closet were of no concern to him. So Mike decided to assassinate Steve Snodgrass and cover up his death with a fan-made spin-off title. With that taken care of, Mike quickly
Wait.
and cover up his death
He killed Steve with the joy of creation.
with a fan-made spin-off title. With that taken care of, Mike quickly commissioned an
Oh! Duh, because in The Joy of Creation, the whole story is about killing Scott Cawthon.
book series to spoof recent incidents with Eleanor and the Stitch Wraith. Despite
And
the
then
fact
Fazbear
everyone knew
Friends.
about these public menaces, the prospect of reading about them made the public immediately stop caring. All Michael needed to do now was to tie it all back together by framing Steve Snodgrass as some random lunatic trying to deface his...
He had to have just... This literally came out like 2 days ago. This literally just came out. How? How? A Wii U cheese trap. Okay, sure, yeah. And then this is that one script that he rejected.
brand. So, he commissioned a studio called Silver Parasol to make a virtual reality game that cemented all of the rumors of Fazbear Entertainment as nothing more than fiction. Development was pretty standard, all things considered. The studio
Still-
focused on remaking all 3 of the original FNAF games in VR, and then Michael personally provided them with scribblings of his own life experiences to use as inspiration for new levels.
Math, man.
Alongside this, he also tossed them various circuit boards, notably from Scraptrap and
Just the
some old
mimic-
endoskeleton hardware. He told the developers that it helped make the characters perform in Pathfind or authentically in-game, to which everyone collectively told him that's not how it works. After some gentle negotiation, Michael convinced the team
Okay.
to
Bet.
scan the circuit boards anyway. This didn't seem to really accomplish anything initially, but soon something awakened within the VR game that nobody
Oh,
yet
Tiger
knew
Rock.
about. William Afton, against all odds, came back from complete eradication again due to lingering remnant on Scraptrap circuit boards possessing a program called Mimic 1.
So he is gonna bring Afton back. Okay.
Curbing the virtual space around
So much for
him,
everything I
William
said.
started digging through files to obtain a more tangible form. To his disappointment, he wasn't all too pleased with any of the Spring Bonnie or Springtrap models available to him. So, instead, William used the power of 3D modeling software to manifest a digital recreation of his wonderful pajamas. To save his new
Yep. I remember that. In the first video, he wore these as his pajamas. It looks a little different, but it's still good.
form, he overwrote an unused Springtrap model named Glitchtrap and decided that worked perfectly for his new environment. He was considering the name Malhair, but he had no idea how to rename the files, so he just settled with what he had. As production continued and beta tests began,
Wait, what did that say?
rename the files, so he just settled with what he had. As production continued and beta tests began, Glitchtrap encountered Jeremy Fitzgerald II.
Oh, this is the guy that got bit. Bite of 87. I don't know how he's still alive at this point. If he was an adult in 1987, then in 2023 he's like, what, like 60?
Security guard Balloon Boy chewed on once. Now working as a QA tester, Jeremy tried to write off Glitchtrap as nothing more than a bug. As time went on, though, he wound up being captivated by the virtual rabbit rattling off nitpicks about the game's character models and level maps. Jeremy agreed that this was a problem, and he promised Glitchtrap that he'd set things right and make the VR game as accurate as he could. The other developers, however, felt insulted by the sudden onslaught of criticism Jeremy provided. None of it seemed rational or helpful, so they
Bonnie's blue should be purple. Nightmare Chamber is always routinely sanitized, clean it up, and fix the hole. Foxy doesn't have enough levels. He's the best one. Should be
all
more
conspired to get rid of him.
Ferdinand
After
should be
finding
on
a guillotine paper cutter, the Silver Parasol development team cut off Jeremy's face and made it look like he did it in a fit of hysteria. Jeremy didn't really appreciate this.
What? What is going on?
So he finally quit his job as a QA tester and sued Silver Parasol for cutting off his face. With
He's wearing the Bonnie mask.
his position now open, a successor dubiously named Tape Girl took his place. Tape Girl, much like Jeremy, was also unusually
Why am I not surprised that Tape Girl is literally a cassette tape?
intertwined with the history of Fazbear Entertainment. Her brother, Phone Dude, had sucked her into a passionate interest in the company while he
Tape Girl and Phone Dude are related? Mind blowing.
constructed Fazbear's Fright. Now that he had gone missing, she decided to pick up his slack and participate in the company's current renaissance. Glitchtrap, upon seeing Tape Girl, recognized her as one of Phone Guy's children and reasoned that she wasn't to be trusted. He had been burned by both her father and brother already, and he wasn't going to let that happen again. So, Glitchtrap went out of his way to freak her out as much as possible while she tried to beta test the game.
The Chica
Becoming
love.
terrified of this anomaly, and discovering that Silver Parasol was shutting down due to Jeremy's lawsuit, she hastily began to record audio logs documenting Glitchtrap's presence and other details that could help whatever QA tester replaced her. As she continued attempting to delete the anomaly from the game, Glitchtrap devised a plan to attach himself to her virtual tapes in order to prevent her from killing him. By the time she figured this out, it was too late. So she hid the audio files across the game as well as she could before development was switched over. Glitchtrap wasn't going to let Tape Girl go that easy though, so on her last day on the job, he created a brand new level meant just for her. As Tape Girl followed his bunny trail, she soon realized that he was the one responsible for the murders that plagued Freddy's all along. Feeling more and more tangled within the virtual reality,
He's
Tape
hitting
Girl soon found herself trapped within the suit of Freddy Fazbear.
Alright, hold on. It's getting a little dark, so let me turn on the light real quick. It's getting late. Not late, but like sunrise.
As Glitchtrap celebrated her digital demise. Now that Silver Parasol was more and more tangled within the
This
virtual
is insane.
reality, Tape Girl soon found herself trapped within the suit of Freddy Fazbear as Glitchtrap celebrated her digital demise. Now that Silver Parasol was no longer developing the Fazbear virtual experience, Michael wiped all known traces of the company and
Pulling a William Afton. Yo, what's up? Sabaz Ray? You enjoying the video?
employees
I know
from
I
existence.
am.
The replacement studio was run directly by Fazbear Entertainment, and they sent out some help wanted ads to get fresh beta testers.
That's too much. I'm
Soon
not reading
enough,
that.
A new hire caught wind of the job opportunity.
Vanessa.
And applied as soon as possible. This applicant was a passionate Five Nights at Freddy's fan named Vanessa Shelley. Vanessa was extremely
Shelley.
excited to get the chance to test a brand new Fnaf game. She wasn't confident that the new studio would
Why is the mimic just in a tent?
uphold
What's
the
he doing?
franchise's integrity from the Snodgrass trilogy, but she chose to be optimistic. After putting on the headset for the first time, Vanessa excitedly combed through the entire game with almost nothing but enthusiasm. Experiencing her favorite series in total immersion was a feeling like no other, and she was having a blast. She was a little disappointed that most of the lore elements were seemingly gutted here, but that was a small price to pay compared to everything else. As she continued, though, she noticed some strange glitches throughout the various levels. Maybe this was some kind of new storyline she was unraveling. After discovering a hidden area within the game, Vanessa was able to piece together Tape Girl's recordings and discover the truth. To her horror, this wasn't just new lore, this was real. Upon this realization, Vanessa felt a shiver down her spine as she turned around to see a certain someone behind her.
Oh boy.
Shake your girly pop!
What?
You don't like the voice?
Is this better?
After Vanessa took a short break to recover from that scare, she hesitantly put her headset back on and continued testing the game. As she played, she noticed the glitch trap became more tangible as she found more of Tape Girl's messages.
Wow.
Vanessa was uneasy, but she decided that maybe it would be best to actually talk to the anomaly. Glitch Trap stood before her in relative silence, so she took this as a cue to speak. What started with conversation of her experience testing the game led to her entire interpretation of the Fnaf timeline, including every ounce of external media she was aware of.
And then when Springtrap found him, he did a spot-on impression of the stepdad and then later stuffed him into an oven in Fazbear's Fright. I think the actual place burned down, but it didn't in Fnaf 3.
Who on earth is Hudson?
Glitch Trap had heard enough. Whatever nonsense Vanessa was recounting was absolutely nothing like what actually happened. Had heard
Ralph.
enough. Whatever nonsense Vanessa was recounting was absolutely nothing like what actually happened. So he caught her up to speed on the actual events of his life, from Ferdinand's creation to Afton's amalgamation eradication.
Wow.
Vanessa was over the moon. She never could have anticipated getting such a comprehensive understanding of all of Freddy's history, and she was shocked at how different the real answers were compared to the storyline the FNAF games portrayed.
Jackie.
At this point, she decided she wanted to help Glitch Trap somehow escape the game. So, like any rational person,
What are you, Monica?
Vanessa decided to let Glitch Trap merge with her mind. Removing her headset, Vanessa now saw William by her side in the real world.
Hey, sup, man?
No, I think the other voice was better, actually.
You are so picky.
Afton, now inhabiting Vanessa's brain, wasn't keen on being confined in someone else's body again, so he begged her to help him find a new body for
The
himself.
mimic.
After thinking through everything he had told her, Vanessa decided
Henry?
that she'd make her
I thought Henry died.
personalized rabbit suit to keep William quiet while they tried to get him back into
And
a
Larson's
physical
just
form.
there.
Because that'd take a while, however, she simply crafted a mask in time for the Halloween festival Freddy's was putting together. Speaking of which, Michael Afton was preparing something big. He had been postponing his plans to make an animatronic father figure long enough, and it was
No way. He's saying that ending from FNAF World is this? Interesting.
and it was time to finally set things in motion.
Father replacement plan.
He needed a
Can be summoned with Q. He's gonna make Glamrock Freddy. That's why Glamrock Freddy's such a father figure. He's gonna make Glamrock Freddy.
perfect vessel, though, something his own father created. After some consideration, Michael took a visit to the graveyard and dug up the original Fredbear's body. He was going to revive the animatronic and make him into the perfect Papa Bear. Unsure
Dreadbear is the original Fredbear animatronic. This is
of
awesome.
how to go about reviving an artificial intelligence, Mike figured that obscene amounts of electricity would do the trick. So he crudely stitched Fredbear back together and ran some tests to try and bring him back to life. And it was a success. Michael had let time slip right past him, though. The Fazbear Fall Fest was only in a few days, and he had yet to make the perfect attraction for it. All at once, it dawned on him that he could present the revived animatronic as Dreadbear until he could fix him up properly. Sure enough, this worked perfectly, and at long last, Fredbear was the star of the show for the first time.
He's gonna get nervous and explode.
While attending the festival, Vanessa ruminated on her recent life choices. As she half-heartedly participated in the various attractions, William finally learned that Michael was behind all of this. For the first time in his unnaturally...
Wait, is that
prolonged
Carney?
lives, William finally learned that Michael
Carney.
was behind all of this. For the first time in this new emotion, though, Vanessa accidentally bumped right into the entrepreneur. Vanessa, utterly embarrassed, began to profusely apologize, to which Mike just blankly stared at her, waiting for her to go away. This led to Vanessa...
Wow, Michael's getting old. Look at him. Bro, go take a nap or something. Look at him. His eye bags are crazy.
About her obsession with his company. Only this time, she had all of William's knowledge at her disposal.
Uh-oh.
Michael, initially uninterested, was taken aback by Vanessa's inexplicable understanding of Fazbear Entertainment's history. After evaluating whether or not to dispose of her, he determined she may be useful.
Michael is just strapped at all times. This person knows all of my life secrets. Do I kill? Like he's always thinking like that.
And gave her a new job with special attention. Vanessa was now part of a security team for a new project Mike was working on.
Oh, with the
Fazbear
AR.
Funtime service. This was a special delivery service where Fazbear Entertainment mass-produced replicas of some of the most iconic characters from the business's legacy and rented them out for criminally high prices.
99.
Vanessa was fascinated by this concept, and William realized this would be the perfect way to get a recreation of his favorite fursuit. So, on Vanessa's first day as security, she hacked into the system with her gamer skills and ordered production of Springtrap animatronics. By the time higher-ups noticed something unusual about this, they all shrugged it off, since Springtrap was probably profitable enough to rent it out. William was thrilled that his body had been perfectly remade, but he got cold feet once he realized Fazbear Entertainment was producing so much of him. He didn't want to just be another Springtrap in the crowd, he wanted to be in the spotlight. Vanessa was confused about him changing his mind, though, and they began to bicker about the integrity of a unique Springtrap. Getting fed up with this...
You know what I'm realizing? Why make Vanessa like this? We know what Vanessa looks like. I guess maybe he would have gotten tired with all those different colors, but like, I don't know.
Tried banging her head against one of the replicas to attempt to transfer.
What?
This ended up knocking her out, giving William free rein to puppet her body. Knowing this could come in handy for future schemes, he quickly searched how to induce compliance in human subjects to ensure he could do this whenever it benefited him. This, alongside some other concerning web searches, alerted the IT department immediately.
Right.
Unfortunately, the only guy who cared to contact Vanessa about it, Lewis, was more interested in coffee than figuring out why she wanted to chop people in half.
Wow, you buy coffee so good.
By the time Vanessa came to, she didn't have any recollection of the stunts William was pulling, and simply resumed her normal work activity. Anytime William took control again, though, Lewis would shoot another email wondering why Vanessa wasn't taking the hint. This led to a lot of one-sided conversation.
Hi, manager doesn't really care about researching, but this is the only thing I get to do for my job, so please stop researching torture methods on the clock. By the way, coffee tonight, tomorrow, forever. That's great.
And coffee invitations, but outside of that, the Funtime service was doing great. People were renting animatronics constantly, but outside of that, the Funtime service was doing...
What does it say? I can't read with the captions. Frappuccino better, fake coffee fan blocked.
Great. People were renting animatronics constantly, and the funds gained from this inspired Michael to start offering additional characters and
Freddy Fazbear
variants of the existing ones. There was only one problem. Aside from the occasional fatality from letting infamously killer animatronics out in public, delivery trucks for both animatronics and pizza started being attacked by bears. To Michael's surprise, bears absolutely adored the taste of pizza and despised Fazbear animatronics. This was all thanks to their overlord, Ferdinand von Bernard. Although artificial, Ferdinand's cosmic power allowed him to integrate perfectly into bear society. His appearance indicated to bears across the world that he was something special for their kind, and he provided them all with wisdom far beyond their years. The most important thing Ferdinand taught them, however, was to hold a grudge against Fazbear Entertainment.
It's the only thing I could think of.
Being left behind and replaced by his creators was one thing, but his arch-nemesis, Michael, becoming CEO of the company was another.
Yeah, no, so Henry died. So who was that guy on the train?
One thing, but his arch-nemesis, Michael, becoming CEO of the company...
Look, Henry's dead right there. And he says arch-nemesis because when he was Nightmare Fredbear in Fnaf 4.
...was another. Michael was losing at least 5 delivery drivers a day from these bear attacks, and paying off the lawsuits from this was the final straw. So he met with Vanessa in private and brought up her previous security breach on the Fazbear Funtime service. She was immediately terrified that she'd get fired, but on the contrary, Michael explained that he needed her to covertly program an order for war. After further instruction, Vanessa hacked into the Funtime service yet again to order the animatronics to attack all of bearkind. With just a push of a button, the Great Bear War began. Animatronic and Ursine fiercely clashed against each other within moments.
What is happening? What's actually happening
Those
right
that
now?
could react stormed to the front lines wherever they could, and soon 2 allies arrived to join them. It was Trevor the cashier and Harold the janitor, otherwise known as Shadow Freddy and Rickfus Fosks. Both of them had just been fired from their former jobs at Freddy's, and Michael had completely gutted their pension.
Oh.
Rickfus Fosks tortured one patron for cheating at Pack and Pal, and that managed to cross the line apparently. Shadow Freddy didn't want to work at Freddy's without his partner, so Mike fired him too just so he couldn't formally quit. With nothing to lose, Shadow Freddy and Rickfus Fosks tried to assist the
Clown
war
Spring
effort to
Trap.
rebel against Michael. Sadly, as Shadow Freddy attempted to conga line a troop of bears to victory, he was obliterated by a barrage of fireworks. As Shadow Freddy's dark remnant scattered across Hurricane, Rickfus Fosk's rage grew so powerful that he managed to shut down the Funtime Services servers and end the bloodshed. This was too little too late, sadly, and he set off on a hopeless quest to recollect his partner and bring him back.
That's why he wants Remnant.
And, discovering Mike had nearly obliterated his people, knew he had to do something to fix this. After phasing through realities to forge the perfect plan, Ferdinand understood what needed to be mentioned he called Paradise, and waited for the stars to align in his favor. Now that bears
It's a
were
Fnaf
seemingly
world, right?
extinct, Michael had no real threat to his business. Additionally, his overall corporate success caught the attention of every major company in the country. The power vacuum they all shared from Eleanor's massacre allowed for Mike to buy all of them out for cheap, and Fazbear Entertainment became a mega corporation within the blink of an eye.
Wow.
With this, the stage was finally set for Michael to build the mega pizzaplex of his dreams, and Hurricane City Council couldn't say no this time. Michael was proud of Vanessa for her cooperation, and despite her not really being qualified for any promotion, he ordered his board of directors to transfer her to the head of security.
So who is this? Who is this? Is this Henry's dad? Son? What? I'm so confused.
At the pizzaplex once construction was complete. It would take time for this project to finish, but Michael was absolutely certain that it'd be nothing short of his magnum opus. For now, he was left to contemplate his 2 personal projects. Dreadbear had been a great novelty for the Fall Fest, but his body's disrepair was not sustainable for a long-term business. So, Mike harvested Dreadbear's AI to use within a brand new animatronic, a glam rock reimagining of Freddy Fazbear. All Mike needed now was to finally use his Fazgoo for its true purpose. With confirmation from shady science teachers across the country that the substance worked, Mike was confident.
Oh yeah, because what, science teachers were just allowing kids to get sucked up by Fazgoo? Like what?
Unattainable dream would come to fruition. Now, exploring every nook and cranny of Hurricane, he searched for the remnant he had coughed up after the pizza place.
Oh, Shadow
fire
Bonnie's
in order
gonna
to
kill
bring
him.
his younger brother back. Soon after vaporizing Rickfus Fosks with a flashlight, Michael finally found what he was looking for. A chaotic energy emanated from the newest remnant deposit he discovered, and he knew he found him. Capturing the remnant and returning home, Michael guided the child's soul to the Fazgoo and watched as the boy was finally put back together. Now that his brother actually existed again.
So, is he saying that... Okay. So I'm trying to figure this out. So, Shadow Freddy died, and then all his remnant was surrounding everyone. That's why Spring Bonnie wants to recreate, or Shadow Bonnie wants to recreate him. But then Michael found Dave's... wasn't the remnant inside of him? Or I guess he coughed it up at the end of Fnaf 6. And then he used the Fazgoo to recreate Dave.
The fog lifted. After all this time, Michael could finally remember the child's name. Gregory Afton.
There's no way he's Gregory Afton. There's no way. I was thinking in my head, I was like, he's gonna do something to subvert expectations because everyone's talking about Dave. That's the new name that came up. But what's more controversial than Dave? To go ahead and say that he was Gregory. I mean, when Matt Pat said that, he was getting flamed for it. Yeah, this is funny. Is that the end? No shot.
For now, the finale's rolling in much faster than this.
No shot.
I've got to be prepared. Wait, finale? Has security reached the end? Yep, nothing else. No secret up my sleeve. It all ends with... You'll see. Catch you next time.
It's not fair. You can't do that. The Blob. His outro is a banger, by the way. Crying Child is Gregory Afton. I don't even know. I don't know where to like begin. That's it.
Long time.
I didn't think he'd have the balls. All right.
Gregory Afton.
Oof Troop, I have to commend it. This is way better than I could have possibly thought it was. And the gall you have to end it off like this is actually insane. That is insane. And there were so many good tie-ins. Did he... I mean, how could that timing have worked any better for him? I mean, he's like in the Matrix or something. When he releases this is fresh off the discovery of the new Crying Child name. He either just wrote this in now, or this is the most insane timing I've ever seen. I mean, this is actually insane. My God. Well, I'm in disbelief. I'm gonna watch this like several times again. Oh, something else I was looking into this video. I wanted to see if there was maybe anything I could use to kind of recreate the I Can't Decide video. Because when I originally made it, I was thinking, oh, when I was using the I forgot her name. I linked them in the video. You can check it out. Who I was like using as a template. The middle section was all about VR. But at the time, only Timeline Part 2 came out, so I just shoved in Sister Location to try to make it work. So I was trying to see if now that we have VR, I was able to like kind of what am I saying? Like if there's anything I could use to like replace that and make a new version. But VR was pretty quick, I'd say. Like the actual like gameplay of VR was like when? Here? I mean, it depends what you consider, because you have like Tape Girl and
Let's trap upon seeing Tape Girl.
But if we're talking about strictly Vanessa, it would be from here to... Actually, this is like a decent amount. Maybe. But I doubt I'd recreate it anytime soon. That was a good stream. Alright, let's see. I think... So yeah, be on the lookout. I might go live tomorrow, but realistically, probably not. Maybe I got some other stuff to do. I'm probably going to continue working on the Just Monica lyric video, so look out for that. Actually, you know what? I'm feeling a bit generous. Let me show you all a little sneak peek of that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm crashing out here. Alright. I hate when Premiere does this. Sorry guys, just give me a second. I'm just trying to pull up projects. Please open on this window. Alright, we're good. Oh shit. Can we mute this so I don't swallow? Alright, let's start here. Alright. This is the Just Monica music video. I'm trying to recreate it, like, game-wise. And, you know, I think it's coming out pretty good, but realistically, it won't be out for another week or two. And that's assuming, like, I'm stream guide, because I want to make, like, theories and stuff, but, like, he hasn't done that yet. Even though he said 1 to 2 weeks, and then it was 1 to 2 weeks. I don't know. He said by the end, or he didn't say it, but the suggestion of 1 to 2 weeks would imply that before the end of October, and it's the 25th. So I'm not rushing him because it's a super big video, but I am waiting on that before I start making theory videos. So if that doesn't release soon, the next video will be this. But let me show you a little snippet of it. Okay, yep, I forgot I was muted.
We're meeting. Are you into reading? You need for me, boy. You're up to have a freaking cupcake. It must you free, my boy. It's time to. So, here to show the. Help with baking. Or with banner making. And I'll walk home alone today. Maybe we're friends, maybe we're more. How can he love a simple girl next door? I'm just not the type he's looking for.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure nobody's done this. I might have to look into that in case I'm stealing someone's idea. But I'm recreating the actual game and like trying to get like exact measurements and everything. I'm recreating the game and then just like syncing it to the Just Monica video. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And like I said, if Supreme Guide doesn't release anytime soon, then this will probably be the next thing, and then I'll probably play FNAF 2 again. Maybe next weekend. Maybe I don't know. I have to see how I feel. I'll definitely put a community post saying whether or not I feel like it. But yeah, no. Oof Troop. This was amazing. Absolutely worth the 2 years. I mean, I mean this right here. This is insane. Oh man. Absolutely amazing. Alright, well, that's gonna be it for this stream. Catch you guys. Actually, here. Let me see. I wanna check something. Why don't we raid someone? I haven't done that. Probably because I don't really know how to. Chat, who's live? Who could I raid?
They have all stick to it? Okay. Oh, wow.
Here, we could, you wanna just raid Jinxie? Just for, like, no reason. I mean, he's not even gonna say anything, but, you know. Let's just do it. For the no people that showed up. I'm just kidding. No, I'm good. I know there's a couple of people, but I don't think there's anyone here right now, so, you know, just raid, whatever, playing BO6. But yeah, no, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.